Well, hello, Canva at Work stage.
Hello.
Hello.
Can you believe this audience?
It's amazing.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. A little bit I thought we'd just hang out. So I'm really, really excited to be here. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Megan Gendelman. I am the CMO of B2B at Canva. And I'm very excited about this particular panel because the people who are on this stage with me are my actual friends in real life. They're not like my work friends that meet me here. They're like people who are here because they're just awesome humans, and we're friends. And we're friends because we all went to the Marketing Academy together.
We did.
And if you don't know it, you should definitely go and look up the Marketing Academy. It is an amazing opportunity for people who are in marketing who want to become VPs of marketing and people who are CMOs and want to become CEOs. And that's kind of where we grew up. And I am super excited because these two were CMOs in their lives, but they've grown beyond me, and they are now business leaders, top to bottom. They own entire P&Ls and huge businesses. And so I want to start with having you each introduce yourself. And I'm going to ask you, and I'm going to mix it up because we're friends, so we're going to do that. In your intro, what would be your walk-up music if we had played walk-up music for you? Gerald, you're first.
So I'll start with the intro. So I'm the Senior Vice President of Small Business at CDW. And I also get the chance to run the Academy and Residency program. So every salesperson that comes into the company, their first 2 years of learning the business is part of the team, is part of my team. So really excited. CDW is a tech solutions firm that works with a bunch of different amazing partners, Canva being our favorite today, for sure.
Today.
And then the walk-up song would be Hustlin' by Rick Ross. That's the one. I see you too.
And I am Nijo Tita Reed, and today I'm representing all the chief growth officers in the world, most recently at the CGO of Mars Pet Care, which is the largest pet care company in the world, and before that, CMO for Logitech. So really wonderful to be here. And my theme song would be a combination of Diana Ross, I'm Coming Out, and Beyonce's Diva.
All right. I love it. I'm just going to share. Mine would be Are You Ready for It by Taylor Swift. So we represent.
I see it.
All right. So I would really like to get a little audience participation. And we're going to start with a question for all of you. And there's going to be a QR code on the screen. And the question for you is, what is the biggest challenge that your team is grappling with right now? I wish I had a picture of all these pictures.
I know, right?
Exactly.
And we want audience participation. So go in, vote, and we're going to tackle the things based on how you voted them up. Okay, turning growth into ambitious results, moving at the speed of socials, growing, translating AI tools. Wow, growth into ambitious results, almost 50%.
It's critical.
All right, we're going to lead with there. The good news is you're right, and we're going to tackle all of them. And we're going to do it with some hot and spicy takes. Oh, now it's at 50%.
It's good.
Gerald, you first. Is it overrated or underrated? AI can do anything. Our limit is our imagination.
It's a good question, and I would actually say overrated. So I think the imaginations, I've seen it here at Create, like everybody is thinking about everything that they could possibly do. I think that the problem is actually making that accessible to people. You know, when we think about AI, a lot of it gets really, really technical, and people have an idea of what they want to accomplish, and they get disappointed in the process. That's actually one of the things I appreciate about a lot of the announcements today it was actually about bringing that power closer to people so they get to real results faster, because I think that imagination just needs to be ignited, right? Like you need some quick wins so that you could get to the really big things that I think are possible with AI. So I'm going to go overrated on pure imagination.
As the limit.
Yeah.
Great.
How about you?
I would tend to agree on that one. At the end of the day, I do believe that people are creative, they're curious, and they have imagination. But at least from the enterprise, one of the challenges, quite frankly, is the need for us to be compliant, a need for us to have control, and to be able to do AI responsibly. And so that tends to be one of the biggest barriers as opposed to imagination. Because if we're honest, a lot of people are using AI more in their personal lives than they are sometimes professionally. And so therefore, it can't necessarily be the human input. Sometimes it's a system that can be a barrier.
I think I love both of those. And what I really love about it too is I've been really sitting lately with the idea that craft and taste needs a home. And I've been inspired by the imagination and the tastemakers right now. And that scale sits beside it, and we need both, right? And how they live both together. I almost want to spark more and fuel more in the imagination on that side, because then the skills that, like, you can scale anything.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
And I love how you both kind of talked about it's the systems more than the tooling even. Yeah. Okay, next thing under the first one that had the highest votes, which is around productivity. So let's touch on SMBs for a second versus enterprises. Now, I know this audience, if you are in the audience and you work for a big company, we'll call it 5,000 employees or more, raise your hand. Okay, actually, if you are either an SMB yourself, a founder, or an individual who's running a business, or anybody in a smaller business, raise your hand. Wow. That's a huge part of the audience. Okay. So this is going to get a hot take. Overrated or underrated? SMBs will outperform enterprise in AI.
Underrated. And, being the guy who leads a small business, I really think that the opportunity for SMBs and for small businesses to actually lead the innovation curve and drive new things with AI is a huge untapped potential. And I think part of it is that there's less tech debt and there's less barrier to implementing new ideas. I would say also over half the country actually works at companies under 1,000 employees. So it was cool to see the hands up and see that represented. But when I think about a company of 25 people, 50 people, one new person with a new idea and a new way of working and embracing the tools can change the entire organization. And so I think there's a lot for enterprises, which I work at, to learn from small businesses. But I really think small businesses can lead the way in terms of AI adoption.
I love that.
It's a very contentious discussion that we have had before. So I will say, to defend enterprise for a minute, is they do have data at scale. They do have enormous infrastructure. They do have relationships that sometimes have been built for decades, if not hundreds of years, and that is an advantage. However, I would have to agree that it is still an underrated point that small businesses have an advantage. But the advice that I would give to enterprise would be that it's not necessarily who moves faster, although that does matter. It's who moves faster and who learns faster. And so there is hope for enterprise if they can expedite the learning curve to the degree that small businesses do by necessity.
Well, and I think actually also there's more power in that happening together, right?
Yes.
I mean, the reality is that we're consumers, we work at commercial places, but seeing big companies and small companies working together to solve problems is a huge opportunity for us.
Absolutely. And for those who are creators or are founders in the room, I will say that one of the things that enterprise and all the enterprises that I've worked for and with have done really well is bring you in to share your ideas and then work to be one of your many funders. And so I would just say, definitely go out and get your VC funding, but look at enterprise as a really great source to support you. And quite frankly, many of you who are creators can absolutely develop some of the best creative that companies can use as well. So we're a source to support as well.
I think that I think a current through both of that was curiosity.
Yes.
Yeah,
right? Like
absolutely.
an SMB can be like one curious person can really go fast and move and nimble, but you're also saying you can have that in the enterprise too and be equally
Absolutely.
curious.
Absolutely. The creativity exists in both places. The curiosity within a big corporation can also be scaled enormously fast. And so everyone needs to be curious in this world of AI. That's the how you're going to get the growth.
I think that one of the things that I look for now more than anything when I hire is curiosity.
Same.
Curiosity and self-starter, right? Like, I'm curious and so I went and did the thing.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter how big your team is to go look for that.
I agree. I look for hire, but also for promotion.
Yeah, yeah.
There was a point in time I think all of us were probably taught to be perfect and excellent in everything that we did, and now curiosity is required at every single level, right? You can't just stop and be good. You can't be good enough anymore. So we have to stay curious.
I'm a little jealous because I've never met a Mike I didn't like, and now you have two.
That's so Nigel, right? Like, here we are, one mic people. It's okay.
All right. Overrated or underrated? Nigel, you first. Marketing should own a number.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that it is so critical for marketers to view themselves as revenue leaders, not just marketers. You should view yourself as, part of a revenue team, if not driving a revenue team. And the part of it that you uniquely own is the ability to drive demand. I believe that if marketers do not view themselves as central to growth, we definitely won't exist. And so it's very critical that you understand your role is at the table to be able to drive the demand that drives the growth.
Yeah.
Yeah, underrated. I think it's really, really important for marketing to be connected to the numbers of the business. I think one of the beautiful things about marketing, though, is that you don't necessarily just have to have a short-term view, right? It doesn't have to be the only number is the revenue number. There are things that you're going to do to drive to lay the groundwork for future opportunity and unlock new areas of growth. And so, I always see it as one team. So even when I was purely focused on marketing, I felt like I needed to stay very, very close to the business to make sure what I was doing was relevant to the people driving the number, but also so I have a platform to talk about what the future could hold if our brand hits certain metrics, if we see certain engagement, if we see all these other things. So, I'm passionate about marketing having a number, but I'm also passionate about the function being able to show what's possible in the future too.
I always think that marketing sits at the intersection between sales and product.
Weeks.
Because they are the advocate for the customer. The marketing team should know the customer better than anybody else and advocate for that customer in the room that the customer's not in. And that's where I think the real long term comes into play.
Yes.
Now, like you, I'm a data-driven marketer. I joke oftentimes that data is my favorite four-letter word. Makes me kind of boring, but it's true. And I really feel like pipe that doesn't close doesn't count. But actually anchoring on that customer allows you to do that.
It's unbelievably true. I mean, to your point, revenue is just an output, but all the leading indicators and what you need to do to drive that is where marketing comes in. Being able to know an unmet need or create one and be able to deliver on that. Know that if what you're selling, service or product, drives real value in a consumer or a customer's life is critical. I think we do that better than anyone else, but we also then have to know how that impacts revenue, right?
Yeah.
So I'm completely with you. And in order to do that, you need multiple metrics, to Gerald's point. And I will say this is one of the most exciting times, I think, in my lifetime, because we're able to look at attribution and causation and correlation and real live data that allows us to show the impact we're having. So it's a great time, and AI can help with that as well.
Totally. All right. My next question, overrated or underrated? We should move at the speed of social.
I'm going to go underrated with a caveat. So I do think that we should move fast, and I think that the speed of social is actually more defined about the speed of experience. Like their expectations of how personalized things are, how fast things move, how quickly we respond is changing, and we have to keep up with that speed, but we can't follow the speed at all costs, right? We have to find a way to maintain quality, maintain our brand promise, but we got to move fast. And when we think about what we're seeing here, all of the AI to power our ability to move at speed, with quality, I think that's a huge opportunity, but it's not slowing down.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would say it's overrated as well. I tell my teams all the time, activity does not equal progress. It's really important. You can run really, really fast and stay right where you are. And so it's important that you understand that activity does not equal progress, but you also have to understand, and by the way, I love social and I love creators, and so it's not that I have any issue, but I do think that posting more does not necessarily mean that you're connecting more. And so for those of you who are talented enough to be a creator, it must resonate. And to Gerald's point, it must also, of course, connect with our brand. So it's not that I don't love it, but it's overrated if you think you're just doing it for the sake of numbers. It's got to be meaningful.
I love that posting more doesn't mean connecting more.
Business.
One of the things I think about a lot is my team comes to me and they say, here's my tonnage of work. I don't care about your tonnage. I care about your wattage. How much did you light up? How much did you connect? How much relevancy is there? You and I've joked before, like, I don't need another cat video.
We did say that. Yeah, exactly.
Yourself.
But there's nothing wrong with cat videos. They're wonderful videos. I want to make sure we get this on record. Love cat videos. But yeah, it's the ones that resonate that matter the most.
Yeah, I think also it's like the speed is not just determined about the world or determined by the world. It's determined by you and your brand.
Yeah.
Like, when are the moments when people want to hear your voice? And it's not all the time.
That's right.
Right? And some brands are going to be in there for every moment that pops up. Other brands actually are going to have something really thoughtful to say. It's like the quiet person in the room. When they talk, everybody shuts up. It's like the opposite of me. It's like, Gerald, please calm down.
I don't know. I lean in when you talk.
I appreciate that.
I value you in your talk. I would only add to this point that I do think that sometimes we can be misunderstood, those of us that are in maybe a leadership role, because we do want to fill our content calendar. Yeah. So I don't want to get it twisted. That is important. But if you're filling a content calendar and you don't have cultural instinct, it means nothing. So that cultural instinct to me is important in how you fill that content calendar. I think that's why creators are so meaningful as well.
I think if I can take what you said, I think it's brand authenticity.
Yeah.
Right. And so one of the customers that's here is Virgin Voyages, and they're so interesting and different and talk about brand authenticity. But one of the things that they really taught me is how they use Canva actually is to give the freedom for anybody in the whole company, from like a banquet captain on a ship to a travel agent who doesn't work for them, the freedom to speak on their behalf of their brand. And like, there's like so much trust in that. And they talk about it as confidence, because they're like, we're confident that people understand our brand. And that to me goes back to relevance.
Okay, but I got to give a shout out to Canva, because you can only do that and give that freedom within a framework.
Within a framework.
And so I the more I learn about Canva, the more I love Canva. And I'm not doing a commercial because I don't get paid for this. But I do think that the fact that you could upload all your assets, have a framework, then it could allow you and everyone on the cruise ship, the virtual cruise ship, to be able to post and feel safe. Because the only way I think someone in my role would feel comfortable doing that is if there was a framework to get that done. And I think you are known to have providing a very good one for enterprise. So
That's
go
very nice.
Virgin Voyagers.
Thank you. All right. Can I do a few lightning round questions? Okay.
Yes, you may.
We're going to do lightning round questions, but you can riff off of each other and see where we go.
Got it.
Nigel, what is one trend? Could be cultural, that's fine. What is one trend that you're excited about and one trend you're tired of?
Trend I'm excited about.
By the way, they were not prepped for these at all. Like, I'm really throwing them for a loop right now.
Okay, I am excited about the AI trend of improving your personal operating system. Like the more I think about myself as in my own enterprise, I love that there's a tool that I can improve my personal operating system. So I'm leaning more into that, and I'm really excited about that one. So I'm leaning into that. Very curious. Sick of. Oh God, I think it is just social nonsense. I like really good quality social content, but I get so much every day. My dad has started sending me stuff. I mean, like, it's just like thousands and thousands of things that are coming to me every day that have no real great content. So I don't want to. I don't want to become immune to it because there's such great content out there, but I'm sick of the nonsense.
I will say, my dad sends me emails and he says, "This is my tweet." And they're like 5 paragraphs long. And I'm like, that was actually best sent as an email. So I'm very, very glad that that's how that went out into the universe.
Trend I like is actually bringing AI closer to the edge, like on our devices, and not, so that you can actually use it in your own sandbox, and you can really do things like your personal development, finance, like all these things, because you kind of own it and have it. Trend I am not loving. Surveillance. I feel like there's so many apps now where like everybody knows where you are all the time. Like my favorite like part of the week is going for a run and leaving my phone. And so I mean they know the loop that I'm running, so they could really track me down. But I feel like going out to play and just trusting your kid will be back before dark.
Yeah.
I miss that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. We're all parents up here, so we all get that,
Yeah.
right? Like, yes. What is your biggest unlock for partnership?
Mutuality.
Say more.
I think that at the end of the day, to have a real partnership, it's got to work for you and it's got to work for me. And so I think gone are the days where, at least as a big enterprise, it can just work for you. I think there's so much power, especially in small businesses and the younger generation who knows their value and their worth a bit more than they used to. So I believe a real partnership has to be mutual.
Well done.
And that's also a principle of the.
I think it's honesty about where things will work and where they won't, right? So I think one of the things that's a powerful unlock right now is people can use AI to find out anything really, really quickly. So glossing over your low points and hyping up, your high points. I just think really being honest, like to what you said, understanding where you win, but also just being clear about where it's probably not a fit. Is a sign of good partnership. I was actually with a partner last week, and we were having a meeting, and everybody was so happy and nice to each other, and I was like, we're down year over year right now. Like, can we pause?
Yeah.
Like, we love each other so much that we want to say nice things when we're together, but I think we solve this whole negative into a positive thing. Like, that will be great for the partnership. And so I think just that clarity on where you win and where you may not together.
I think there's a real difference between being nice and being kind. And what you just described, and I think about this in partnerships, I think about this in teamwork, I think about it in all the things. And it's a Brene Brown thing, so it's not like rocket science that I came up with. She came up with it. I'm sure it was rocket science for her. But that clear is actually kind, right? And so pausing and being like, hey, we're down. Let's turn that around. That's actually the kind move in the partnership versus just sitting around and saying nice things to one another.
No, it's true. Another way to say it, because I learned it the hard way, but there is a big difference between being nice and being straight. So you can be straight with someone and tell them that, that thing does not look good. And it's just, kind of straight, or that's not black, that's gray, right?
Yeah.
And you can just be straight and not be afraid of being kind or nice. And I think straightness, to your point, and clarity, it's the biggest gift you can give somebody. I'm with you.
So we all met through this leadership program that I mentioned earlier. And I feel like part of the reason why we became so close is the appreciation also that vulnerability is a superpower, not a weakness. And that's a big part of partnership too. All right. What is one KPI that people overthink?
Impressions.
Impressions. I was going to say leads.
Lifetime value.
Oh, okay. That is a hot take. One question that you wish marketers asked more.
What's your business goal?
Okay.
Like what does success look like for the organization, not purely from a marketing lens, but what does success look like? And I think everybody needs to ask that question and get really, really clear before you start. because you can't retroactively, add KPIs after you haven't decided what good actually is. And so, yeah, like stop, take a breath, and say, what are we trying to accomplish here,
Love it.
from a business perspective, and then work back, right? Have a better plan.
I think very complimentary. I think in addition to where you're going, to me it is what is the business model that and the operating system or the growth model is what I call it. So what's the growth model of the business and where do you see marketing fitting in to drive that flywheel of growth? It is a conversation worth having because if you don't have it, someone will think you own the entire flywheel. When you're not growing, it's all your fault. So you've got to be able to understand all the different levers of growth, which ones you influence, which ones you might need to count on sales or supply chain or whatnot for, and then make sure that you're all working together to make that flywheel turn.
And just one other point on that, and I think this is, I'll give my nod to Canva here too. Like visibility is power when you're working towards those objectives. If you wait until the end of the quarter or the end of 6 months to look back at your results, you can't do things about it, right? But actually having visibility, in your execution, the design work, you can tweak and change and adjust midstream and still win, right? Or lean farther into things that are going well or pull back on things that aren't. And so that flexibility is really powerful.
All right, I've got time for one more question. And you're both leaders that I admire deeply and that I look up to. So one of the reasons is because you both mentor a lot of people. So if you were mentoring a marketer or marketing leader today, what's one belief that you would encourage them to challenge?
The people who are older than you know more than you.
Mm-hmm.
I heard a here, just so in case you all didn't hear it, I heard a here.
Yeah. Your job is what you do, not who you are.
Yeah.
So I did marketing specifically for a very, very long time. And that's what I did. It's not who I am, which meant that if there was an opportunity to be a GM or to do other things, and that was interesting, and I felt like I had the skills to go and do it, then I could do that, because a lot of people want to put you in a box based on your role. I do search, I do creative, I do social. Those are things you do, but it's not who you are, and you get to decide who you are.
And I would say to that point, if you are working with somebody or for someone and they don't ask you to reverse mentor them and they don't think they can learn anything from you, you probably shouldn't work for that person. That is definitely one of my beliefs. Everyone that works for me, I can learn something from. And of course, I hope that I can give them as well. But in today's modern era, you'll both be extinct if you don't continue to keep that learning loop going.
I love that. Are they incredible or what? Yes. So if I were to pull it all together, I would just say, first of all, I love how much you both are able to just riff, because what we talked about is AI is an unlock to imagination, but imagination's not the limit, right? Imagination's the spark that drives the rest of it. Growth is a system, not the goal. And I feel like we talked a lot about learning and mentoring and that. And so it's the speed of that more than the speed of social. The brand authenticity matters more than just getting it out there. Impressions don't matter. I just want to say thank you both, and I'm incredibly delighted. I hope you all have an amazing time at Canva Create, and thank you very, very much.
Thank you. Thank you.